Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Black Girl Flow podcast. We hope that you guys are doing well, skin glowing, bank account getting fatter, just feeling the good energy, the good vibes. We're so happy to have you guys join us on another episode. And
be careful with that type of intro. Somebody's going to be like, I need you to be my alarm clock.
I will gladly.
You would.
You know what my dream would be?
What?
Being the voice of Siri in the directions. So I could be like, turn left, ho. You know what I mean? Like, it could be something. But then other times it's like, I could just whip out a British accent.
Doesn't Kaylani have that on Waze?
Yeah, she does.
Yeah.
That's
next
Kaylani.
level.
Kaylani, we love you. But you already know we like to start it off with a pulse check. We're actually pre-recording this because
where am I gonna be?
Lexi's gonna be globetrotting in Canada.
Boop, boop,
she
boop,
said, I'm getting the F out of here with the quickness. Me and my mans is going to Canada. Yeah. Okay, I'm so excited. Tell us about the trip.
I'm super excited too. This is like, I'm trying to think. This is like his big trip for the year. We haven't gone on anything together since his birthday trip to Miami at the beginning of the year. So I'm super pumped. I've heard incredible things. Literally every single person, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to Toronto and Montreal. Everybody's like, you're going to love it. They're like, food's great. Everything's great. People are great. So I'm just excited to be like unplugged for an actual whole week. So Liv, are you ready to hold down the not just fort, but forts?
Who's trying to come over? Is
right.
Is really the question that I have. But yeah, no, I'm gonna definitely miss you. I'm like, I'm excited for the content. You know, I'm the friend that lives for the I'm like, if you ain't sending me pictures of the food,
I know,
sending me pictures of the accommodations, like, where are you? Did you get kidnapped? So I'm excited for that. But I think for me personally, probably right now, if I'm predicting how my pulse check is gonna be that week, I'm gonna be like, dang, I really miss Lexi, but I'm gonna go see Nope. See Nope during that time.
Yes.
So, and probably explore a little bit more of North Carolina as well. Like, probably just like go to all the restaurants, maybe like fine dining alone at the bar.
I can't wait to come back, and this girl hasn't done any of that.
Okay, well, I accept the challenge. I'm going to be the mysterious girl at the bar, and when I come back with a sugar daddy, don't be saying nothing. Okay. All right, maybe the sugar daddy part's not going to happen, but I am going to try. I'm going to try at least 3 different places.
Okay, that feels
doable. That's doable, right?
Yeah, that's totally doable.
Yeah, I'm a dual. I do things that feels very, doable, if you will.
Yeah, but it'll be nice. It's a good little break. I think, too, it's important for her to like have time and space to just kind of frolic around, butt ass naked and around the house and not have to worry about nobody. Oh my gosh,
you're telling me. You're telling me. But speaking of present and future, I think that perfectly leads us into today's episode, because I've been reflecting a lot on just like sometimes how weird it can feel being in our 20s, where we're constantly setting these goals and then we might reach them and then we're on to the next goal.
Yeah.
And we're not appreciating the process. We're not appreciating the moment of being like, okay, I'm really satisfied with the present version of myself that I am right now.
Yeah. Period. Done.
Like
nothing else.
We never talk about it.
Fin. Yeah.
Right. We're always like, okay, well, when I graduate college, then I'll feel like better. Or then, okay, after I graduate college, then when I get the job that I want, then I'll feel better. Okay, after I do that, then I'm actually kind of lonely. When I get married, then I'll feel better. It just keeps going. It keeps snowballing. And I realize that I do this myself too. I'm like, why can't I just stick to a financial budget? Like, if I'm supposed to be this rich baddie, like I have to figure that out.
We're getting a true sneak peek of the internal monologue that this girl is having. So just know that it really does sound like that.
Yes. No, it's like one fairy, like, girl, you ain't sticking to that budget. Another fairy's like, girl, like, it's okay. We live in life. Like, it's good. And then myself, I'm like listening to both of them and I'm like, yo, if I already spent the money's gone. So there's no need in beating myself up about it. Just do better next time.
Yeah.
And I think by having more gentle conversations with yourself, you can learn to appreciate the present. But yeah.
I think that's a really big mindset shift though. And it almost feels like something that you really do have to like remind yourself of every day, because it's not the default setting we have.
Right.
To like look in, like to experience your 20s and not constantly be like hearing that narrative and that story about yourself or what you've accomplished. And I think the part about navigating this in your 20s, because I could not even imagine what it looks like in 30, but everybody I know that's in their 30s has this like very carefree mindset now, being like, yeah, I stressed way too hard in my 20s. Like, it's not that anymore. But it's hard because so many things are not, you're not only just rapidly changing, but so many other things in your life are rapidly changing. So the amount of friends I have that are already like seriously committed in relationships, some like already beginning to start families, others moving like to the place that they will probably reside for like the next 10 to 15 years, like making career choices. So it's not just you that's changing, but you have now all of these comparisons. And I think when you get caught in that loop, what you forget is to just evaluate what you have in front of you and ask yourself, are you really content with the life that you're living, or are you chasing this carrot on, you know, the end of a stick?
Absolutely. And I like to call this season of my life you season, because
tell us about it.
I'm telling y'all, when I look back at past Liv, there were so many situations that I've seen her in that she just didn't have boundaries with other people. Like, she didn't have
in relationship, like in friendships, in work, in
and a lot of them. And I wouldn't say as much with family, but definitely with relationships with other people. Like, I didn't really ever understand like what the line was of things that like I wouldn't necessarily do, because I just felt like, okay, like I'm a free-flowing individual. When I was younger, I was really committed for how flexible I am. So given that flexibility, like I think given the appraisal of like, or is it the appraisal? Yeah, the appraisal of flexibility that I received when I was younger, I think that's why those boundaries might have shifted a little bit. And now I'm in a space where I think it really is an evaluation of, okay, what am I receiving? Like, is this type of flexibility reciprocated? And what do I like? What don't I like? And that helps me understand what future me really prioritizes. Because, like, for instance, I've always said I really wanted to be bilingual. And I studied Spanish when I was in college, and I studied in high school, studied abroad in Spain. But, child, that language did not stick with me the way that it was supposed to stick with me. But it's still something that I really like want to prioritize in my life. And so it's like I study a little bit on Duolingo, trying to actually study French. We've switched languages now because I'm like, okay, maybe that one might be a little bit easier for me. I don't know, but like I'm trying to learn more about myself during this you season so that I can show up as the future version of myself today.
Yeah.
While still simultaneously appreciating like present me and the past that led to the present.
So, like, based off of the things you've thought about, like, what would you say, like, how content and satisfied are you with your present day today? Like, on a realness scale?
I would say that I'm really happy right now. I think that I've gotten past the point. I've gotten past the point of really like not embracing the single season of my life.
Yeah.
And that was such a huge theme, I think, especially like when I moved up here. And I think for a while, given the fact that I have experienced so much change, when I kept like thinking about places to go and like flights to book, when the plan was to stay here and to really like grind it out and to just be present and what me and you were creating and, you know, living outside of my hometown. Like when I realized that I was still trying to escape those other things, I was like, we gonna have to reel it in. Like, what's really going on? Right. So now that I have the foresight of being like, okay, I need to calm my ass down. And what are the things I'm running from? Now that I've been able to adjust that, I now feel more content in the life.
Yeah.
It's like
so it
coming
didn't
into
come
my
overnight.
skin.
You like
No.
had to kind of.
I had to be like, why am I like trying to leave? Like this is what I was supposed to like. And I think it's like a euphoric feeling being on vacation. I think I feel the most alive when I'm traveling. That's like a short answer.
Yeah.
But like traveling wasn't the plan, right? So
Yeah.
like these last minute trips,
That's
and
just
stuff,
not this season. Yeah.
right? That's not the season that I'm in right now. Especially when it's like because I think it's cool when you're like traveling and stuff, and it's like, okay, we're in the season of traveling, but like that's not what season I'm supposed to be in right now.
Yeah.
And so that's what's helped me. What about you? Have you had those moments where you're like, like I need to give present version of myself a little bit more love, a little bit more grace?
I think, oh yeah, no, definitely the daily reminders of like the answer is always more grace, more patience. Like, yes, we will only be better with the abundance of that. Let's be 100%. I do think that like this revelation about the amount of pressure we put on our like present self in relationship to our future self really just got debunked for me, especially in undergrad, because my undergrad experience didn't look anything like I anticipated it to be. And I think that really freed me from this idea of chasing a version of myself that my current self didn't even want to be, you know, because it sometimes just seems easier. It's like, well, if there's something that I need to attain in front of me, it's easier than taking the road less traveled. Not even, but just like exploring parts of myself that at that time I might have been insecure about, that I might have been fearful of what I was going to find. But what we know is nestled into that journey is so much of your purpose and your pleasures and your passions and all of those fantastic things. So I feel like now I move, but I do have to constantly remind myself of those moments of like, okay, like we're doing a lot. But I think there's kind of two examples I always think about in like one relationship to my love life. I always used to say, because people would be like, oh my gosh, like what's your ideal, like what are you looking for? You know, that's the single person question, right? Like what are you looking for? What's your ideal type? And I used to tell people, I was like, I don't even trust present me to make an assessment on what future me needs, because I can barely make good, wise choices with like the resources I had in that time for finding somebody. I was like, I don't trust present me to make that decision off of future me. And I think relinquishing even that expectation brought me a partner that was more than I could have ever imagined for myself. Like quite literally, I'm like, I didn't even know what he was going to look like. We knew he was going to be tall. That was a given.
That was a non-negotiable.
Like, a non-negotiable. But it's like that freedom that you experience when you let go of that expectation if it has to look a certain way, sound a certain way, whatever. I was more able to be in the present moment of my love life and be much more open to things that I probably had like this recipe of a man that I was looking for, I would have missed so many aspects of like what I love about my boyfriend now. And so I think like that's one that I found. And then in the present moment now, I have so many things in my present moment that I could have never anticipated for myself. But anybody who knows me, and it's funny because my boyfriend was just telling me, he was like, you always talk about how like your ideal is doing nothing.
Yes.
Like my ideal is like
laid up under a tree.
Yes.
With the cowboy,
yes.
the cowgirl hat tilted down with a book on probably like something really like
the space
obscure. Yeah. Space or just something where she's learning.
Yeah. Like nice. And because I'm asleep, the book is just,
yes.
And so like that's my ideal. So sometimes when people praise me for like my present accomplishments, the people who really know me are like, but you're really doing a lot and like you don't love that. And I'm like, you're right. Like even in my present, I might have material things that I'm very much grateful for and like very much satisfied with and like very proud of myself. But there is this kind of like, but at the same moment in my present, I'm not 100% content and satisfied with the pace at which my life is right now, because I don't think it's sustainable for me. And I have to be really real with myself and not hang the hat on all of these things that people told me to accomplish, like buy a house, like be independent and all these things, because those are not the things that bring me happiness.
Right.
And so I've done a lot the past couple of months of really taking inventory and letting go. And I hate that my pattern told me that this was going to be the season of that.
Y'all, if you haven't downloaded the pattern, I'm gonna let you know right now. Go ahead and download that.
But I think those are two examples for me at which like the present and the future version of myself were really in conflict with each other. And then like always coming back to the present moment, in my opinion, gives you so much more information than imagining what the future is. And now I just move in my life with, I know the intention that I have for the life I want to live. However that happens, like I'm along for the ride.
I love that. Because it's like, honestly, the present version of yourself could really be going through it right now.
For sure.
And you don't even have the context or the tools to really be able to like even think past what is going on today.
Yeah.
Because it's like life is just throwing you. And I've been in that situation so many times. I think especially when we think about even our journey with the podcast.
Yeah.
Like in 2020, y'all, I was like, I'm not sure if I have the capacity to keep putting energy into this.
We had already been doing it for about a year.
Yes.
And I remember exactly, I was back home in Texas and
you were like, what's up?
Yeah. She kind of went, the Capricorns in my life do this when they go ghost. They go silent when they're like evaluating their life. From isolation
comes rebirth, if you will. I was in the process of rebirthing myself, but I didn't have the language at the time to express that to Lexi.
And I tapped that turtle shell and
she was like, hello,
come out.
What's going on here? And I was just like, yo, I'm sorry. Like,
what was going on for you?
I mean, during the pandemic, graduated, had a job, got, rescinded because of the pandemic.
Almost went back home.
Yeah, almost went to Spain to teach abroad. Then decided that that's not what I needed in the current moment, to be further away from my support system.
Got a boyfriend.
Was living in like a 2-bedroom with my mom, brother, and dog. Yeah, there was just a lot happening. And like my mom wasn't very like present. I could see she was very masked. My brother and I were clashing more. And we're such like a goofy family that it was really true. I didn't know I didn't have the privacy that I once had. And it was something that like they had begged me to come home to. So like I could have really been in North Carolina still in my own space, but at the time we didn't know like what COVID was going to bring.
Yeah.
And so there was just like a lot of stuff that was happening in my life, and I was like, Lexi, I didn't even know how to communicate it to you.
And she basically was like, I think it's time to put this one on the shelf. And
take it to the shed.
What do you remember me saying to you? Because I remember where I was when I was like, I had an inkling that you were going to say this.
What do I remember you saying to me? You were definitely like, I'll give you some time to really think about this. Like, if this is what you want.
Now. Yeah.
If this is, because it's like, I'm not going to do this without you. But like, this is something that like we worked really hard for. And like, I just need you to communicate to me where you're at. That's what I remember.
Yeah.
Was there anything that I missed out from that?
No, I think I knew off of like generalizations, like a general sense of what was happening to you. I didn't know how it was impacting you, because it's like you can know. I'm like, I knew so much was changing.
Yeah.
But it like how it was impacting you, I couldn't speak on that. And so I feel like once that we had that initial conversation and I got a better sense of like that some parts of it you couldn't even articulate the impact it was having on you.
Yeah.
It was like let's just take a hiatus. The world will continue to be, what it is. And then let's come back at this. And if we do come back at this, like we'll approach it in a different way.
Absolutely.
That feels better for us. And I think that flexibility was really key. And I think it really is key when you're starting to think about like because sometimes that's the part we lose track of how we feel in our present moment. That moment where you're like, something's not working feels really alone, and you just need that kind of like, that kind of just nudge in the right direction, saying like, we have the tools to be flexible enough to think about what this looks like in the future, because we don't have to have all of the answers.
And I think a lot of us, like, we might be like, okay, my future self is still with my man, my future self still got the same friends, my future self, you know, climbed the ladder at her job, and it looks nothing like that.
Yeah.
And it's so it is a give and take of giving yourself grace always, and then being more flexible to understanding like what the future can hold for you, because like think the only thing that we can control is ourself,
right?
And the future, like the future version of ourselves.
Right.
So we can choose to be wiser, we can choose to, you know, be healthier, we can choose to, you know, like get rid of anything toxic that's in our lives in the present.
And I think something for me that's been really helpful, and I cannot remember where I heard this first, but I say it all the time. I have like 10 sayings, folks. That's about it.
Just an old
soul.
Blind woman at the top of the hill.
We keep coming back to this. It's like an inside joke between Liv and I. But it's like the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And like that was so transformative for me, in the sense of like, if I want a life that feels very mobile and I can always have a high level of movement, and that I won't have to be in one place, like, what am I doing in my life right now that positions me to that? Oh, you know, maybe I should be eating cleaner. Maybe I should be, you know, integrating like, you know, movement, a lot of your movement journey into my day to day, because that's the life I want to live. Like, that's it. I don't need to know where it's going to be. I don't need to know, because in my mind, so much of that, those places and spaces, when you find that alignment and that flow, they will arrive to you, because they are also in that same movement. And that's why it's like, now I just can't question that everything that I'm doing right now, I'm supposed to be doing. Even if I don't like it to an extent, I know. And I always say, I'm like, it's going to be a good chapter of the memoir. Like, it's going to be a good chapter of the book one day, because I don't have to have all those answers. I just know that I'm living a life of intention.
You're on the right track.
Being present.
Yeah. And I think a lot of like when you read self-help books too, they tell you to show up as your future self today. You know, so if you want to, you know, have the life, you know, the fruits of your labor, then you're going to have to like just pretty much fake it till you make it, like pretend.
Yeah.
Pretend that you're that CEO waking up in the morning, like, you know, with your list of things to do. You know, you want to have a good morning routine. You know, you want to spend some time with your family, have time to do that. And, you know, you want to create content, like then schedule it out throughout the day, and then just see what happens when you're consistently showing up as that future version of yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. And you'll feel, and I think being able to feel how that, the difference, you know, and I think that is a part of the being present, is having that awareness of, I'm like, oh, I'm showing up in spaces different. And then you go find out other people are not doing that, and you will be able to tell so quickly when it's like, oh, you are not on the same wave that I am on. Like, I'm fully entrenched in the present moment, and you are in La La Land in Disneyland, like in 12 years, and we just can't hang our hat on that.
Right. Yeah. Like, you're trying to flex to appeal to other people, when really and truly you should just be focused
and
on yourself.
This is not an invitation. And because I'm curious what your thoughts are, because there's this trend about living a delusional life.
Be delusional.
And like, and being, so what do you think? How do you think that plays into
be delusional with boundaries?
You're like, so be delusional with an asterisk.
Literally, be delusional with boundaries.
I can co-sign that,
because it's like, being delusional, don't let being delusional get you into debt now.
Exactly.
We not just gonna act like, okay, well, I'm gonna max my credit card because I just feel like somebody's probably money's coming to me. So I'm probably gonna reach 50K by the end of the month anyways. Ha ha ha, swipe. Like, it shouldn't be like that, but be delusional, and you're dreaming of what you envision for yourself.
Yeah.
Like, think the sky is the limit. And that's probably the most motivational corny thing I'm ever gonna say on the podcast.
The corny meter is
The
off
corny
the
meter
train.
is like spazzing out right now. But like the sky truly is the limit.
Yeah.
Like when you think of, oh my gosh, are we bringing Kanye into this? I'm just gonna do it. I did it already. But when you think of like some celebrities that have worked super hard for them, hard, it's really just consistency and thinking that you're capable and that you deserve it. Like thinking that you're deserving of all the love and all of the opportunities that are coming your way.
Yeah.
Like none of that imposter syndrome stuff anymore. Your future self don't got imposter syndrome. Okay? We're ruling it out. Imposter syndrome is just, it's fake. That's you gotta like unpack that. And we can do a whole episode on that again.
Yeah. And I think y'all, the idea of living in the present, if you aren't already have your own practice of that, like rarely do we have things in our society that we hype up so much. And I think anybody who has that practice and that grounding of living a life of intention in the present moment, like can hype it up in the sense of like, it is a lifestyle that gives and breeds more clarity, more connection, more emotion, more wholeness and fullness. So even if you've never even heard of being present and practices around being present, like I'm telling you, like this is the spiel. This is we are trying to bring you to this resource, to this lifestyle, because I just think that everybody should have that. I can only dream of a society in which we have those consistent practices that bring us back to the present moment.
And we become less anxious, honestly.
Exactly.
We become less focused, like hyper focused
on
like the future. It's just like be what you
It's like the opposite of those pharmaceutical commercials. Instead of all the side effects, it's like all the benefits. Like, do you want more relationships in your life? Do you want less anxiety?
Be present.
Be present.
Call 1-800 be present.
The now.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think one great resource to really lean on, The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. Yes. Love a good book reference.
We do.
We might be in talks of starting a book club one of these days. Okay. All right, y'all.
Let the girlies know.
Yes. No, I actually have a long stack of books that I actually have to go through, before I start buying other books, y'all.
Yeah.
Because the future version of myself is not going to go broke buying all these hard cover books that she ain't even read yet. Okay.
Talk about buying books for your future self.
Oh my gosh, child. So I don't know. Let us know if you be into that. Cause I really do need the accountability.
There we go. That's what we're here for. Well, thank y'all so much for another incredible episode of the Black Girl Flow podcast. Y'all know, check out the YouTube, check out the TikTok, check out the website for even more content and conversation. And until next time, peace, love, blessings.
Bye, guys.
Bye, y'all.